What up, fam? I am Dr. De Luna. You are listening to Drop It Like It's Doc podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about some subtle signs and symptoms that your liver may be talking to you, whispering that it wants some love. You're probably experiencing a lot of these, just given what the liver has to deal with on a daily basis. But please listen up. Please give it some love because it will change your life. So fam, your liver, I've said this before, but I will tell you again, it has the word live in it. It's very important, this organ. Unfortunately, we really trash our livers on a daily basis because we are told that poisoning it is normal, it is fun, and it's American. But poisoning your liver is something that you could definitely avoid. But regardless, if you choose to poison your liver or choose to treat it like the king or queen that it is, I'm going to give you just a little walkthrough of what your liver does, how it does it, what it needs to thrive, and then some signs and symptoms that tell you that it's asking for a little breath of fresh air. So, in case you didn't know, your liver is on your right side. Your right side, not your left. A lot of people point over here. It's on your right side. Those of you that got boobies, it's kind of underneath your boob. It's underneath your rib cage, but it expands a little bit below. And if you ever feel right upper quadrant abdominal pain beneath your ribs, that could definitely be your liver. It could definitely be your gallbladder. So just throwing that out there. You could even dig your little paws underneath your ribs and try to feel your organ, and know that it's not going to feel great for you to massage your abdominal organs. But if it feels like pain, that's your liver. But trust me, even without giving a little tickle, there's things that it's telling you that it's truly trying to get your awareness for, because your liver doesn't have a voice. Your liver communicates with you, as do all of your organs, through signs and symptoms. And we are big fans on this podcast of listening to the whispers before things turn into screams, because the liver doesn't want to scream, but when she screams, she's angry. She's real mad. So your sweet little liver, like I said, she sits underneath your rib cage, and this organ is responsible for a massive part of detoxification. So there's quite a few steps of liver detox. So it's not just a one-stop shop. Your liver literally does multiple steps to try to clear these toxins out of your body. And toxins can be things in the air, in the food, hormones, medications, different, food compounds, different microbes. All these things are in your blood. They get absorbed from your blood through your liver, and your liver filters them and pushes them out. It'll either make them water soluble or fat soluble. So you can pee them out or poop them out. Yes. So step one to making sure that your liver is happy, you got to be pooping. I know we talk about shit nonstop on this podcast, but that is the way that these toxins are getting out. So if you are not pooping, the toxins actually reabsorb in your colon. We don't want that. We want them to be passed out. So yes, you need to be pooping 2 to 3 times a day. Yes, of course, we want them to be sausagios. However, if your poop is sludgy, slippery, or if you poop and it kind of looks like there's a film of oil on the top of the toilet bowl, that could be a sign that your liver is upset. Also, because the liver is transforming different compounds that give your urine and your stool color, if you have stool that is off color, if it's like light or cardboard color or gray, that's pretty clear sign that your liver, gallbladder wants some love. And since apparently I'm talking about symptoms already, I'll talk about those and then get into the steps of liver detox. But of course, naturally, your girl had to talk about poop first. So some other signs and symptoms that your liver is definitely wanting some love is, truly, fam, anything skin. That's right, anything skin. Eczema, psoriasis, acne, changes in skin color, like hyperpigmentation, things like that, redness of your hands, redness or sweating of the skin. Anything that's hot and itchy on the skin, definitely want to think liver. So fun fact for you, I had no idea that I was living in mold for roughly 2.5 years, and I was getting this wildly cystic acne on the right side of my jaw, and it was deeply disturbing to me because I help people heal from anything, and I was like, what the fuck? And that was a sign to me that my liver was struggling. And I was like, why? I treat her like a queen. And it's because I was living in mold. So just want to throw that out there that I am not perfect. And if you look back at some of the episodes, you're like, why is her skin freaking out? It's because I was living in mold, okay? So anything that's right-sided. So the fact that that was showing up for me more on the right side should have prompted me to think liver, right? But if you have right-sided bodily concerns, whether that is pain or truly inflammation on the right side, if you look in the mirror and if you feel like the right side of your face is more full than the left, that can absolutely be a sign of liver stagnation as well, because it is on the right side of your body. It is draining that system. But speaking of draining, other signs that your liver wants some love are things like varicose veins or spider veins. That's because there's huge blood vessels that pass through your liver. They are venous structures, the inferior and superior vena cava. They're massive blood vessels, and they go through your liver. So if your liver is backed up at all because it's working to clear out the ridiculous amount of alcohol that you poison yourself with every night because it's the only way you sleep because you hate your job, then your liver is going to back up and you're going to see things like swollen veins in your legs, varicose veins. But for me, clinically, I always look at every part of my patient's body because I study them, but I have them open their mouth, flip their tongue like that, and see what's underneath, because those veins kind of tell you what's going on in the upper system. So speaking of that, if things aren't draining well, puffiness and swelling, whether that's in the lower extremities or upper body, can definitely be a sign that your liver wants some love. So those are just a few general things that I want you to look at, but even deeper, the sweet liver is responsible for detoxification, and it's responsible for helping to biotransform these really inflammatory chemicals in the body. So you could just feel inflamed often. You could feel angry often, because the liver actually holds anger. Isn't that fun? I am not a TCM practitioner, but if you want to learn about the different organs and the beautiful emotions that they hold, I invite you to go back and listen to the Nalu episode, because she nailed it in explaining it. But the liver does hold anger. And if you are someone that just feels like you could fly off the handle at any point, know that I am also one of those people. And it's because my liver is filled with mold. And I don't know what your liver is filled with, but it might be filled with pesticides or toxins or heavy metals or who knows what. But if you're angry and you don't understand why, it's probably your liver is angry, right? She's like, please help me. So other things that can show up if your liver wants some love is that you might wake up every night between 1 and 3 a.m. That's liver time, baby. Every organ has a time in which it does its job, and the liver is working pretty hard between 1 to 3. So you can wake up feeling pretty, like you just slept through the night and you're like, why am I awake? And then you look at your phone or your clock and you're like, it's 1:30 in the morning. Why am I awake again? It's because your liver was doing its work and it woke you up from all that heat that it was building. So something to consider. And notice also, for those of you that do choose to drink, if you wake up at that time on the nights that you drink, it's truly because your liver is working overtime to try to detoxify out that poison. Fun fact for you. Other things that can show up if your liver is upset are things like headaches and brain fog, because again, your liver is what is clearing these things out of your body. And when toxins build up, you don't feel good. So we really need to make sure that the liver has everything that it needs to detoxify. And there is so much information on this podcast, fam, about how to detox, the foundational steps of detox, how to drain your body, all that good stuff. But I did have quite a few requests to talk specifically about the liver. So that's what I wanted to kind of focus our awareness on today. So this liver, it's honestly really fatty. I know I call a lot of your organs fat, but it's a compliment. So your liver is, it's really wild to me that I have dissected a human. I have literally dissected a human before. And a liver is really mushy. And it's a really great place to store toxins, honestly, because different things like to store based on what the molecular structure of that cell is. So the liver can hold a lot of toxins, and the liver can actually turn fatty. Yes, the liver can turn fatty because of something like alcoholism, but it can also become fatty due to something called non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And truly, from a clinical standpoint, I find that this has a lot to do with people that cushion their emotions, people that are angry but don't let themselves feel angry. So it's almost like they just cover that all up with fat and just give it a little hug. So if you've ever been diagnosed with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, of course you have something going on in your liver, right? But that could definitely be due to metabolic things, because the liver plays a really big role in metabolism, especially metabolism of fat. So with that being said, if your liver is talking to you, it might speak to you in the way that you eat fatty foods. And trust me, fam, if you eat fast food or something really fried, of course you're not gonna feel good, because it was fried in like seed oil, and that oil has never been changed the whole time that restaurant was open. So you're not gonna feel good. But if you're like, when I eat avocado or eggs or something fatty, I just feel nauseous, or I feel like I have diarrhea, that's because your body cannot adequately break down that fat and absorb it in your colon. So it's kind of flushing things out. So as I briefly mentioned a second ago, because I talk way too fast, is that nausea, big sign of liver stuff. So have you ever been like sick to your stomach and been nauseous? That's truly usually your liver working through something. But if you get nauseous after you eat, that could definitely be liver, especially if it's related to fat, right? Because the liver is making bile, it drops it into your gallbladder. Your gallbladder is this little satch. I meant to say sack, and I said satchel. It's a little sack, a satchel, if you will. And it is triggered by different enzymes in the body, different chemical messengers to release bile when you're eating. So that bile is helping to emulsify your fats, but it's also helping you to absorb vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, and vitamin K. So if you are very deficient in one of those vitamins, that could also be a sign to you that you're having an issue absorbing them via your liver. So your liver's really doing a lot, and it's doing this in 3 different steps. The first step is called phase 1. And really phase 1 is about breaking down these compounds. So it's any compound that's going into your liver. It is biotransforming it into a form that could be eliminated, because oftentimes the way that we ingest things, the way that we breathe them in, the way that they're circulating isn't in a form that's easily cleared from the system. So step 1 is all about changing it. And step 1, phase 1 of this liver detox actually creates a ridiculous amount of inflammation in the body. So it's breaking down these compounds, and oftentimes these secondary metabolites are way more inflammatory than the chemical that just started. And you're like, why the fuck would my liver do that? It's just the first step, okay? Something else happens next. But for this breakdown process, for that to happen efficiently, you need a lot of B vitamins, fam. You need a lot of B vitamins. And you know that I'm a big fan of getting high quality B vitamins, right? So all supplements, really. Big fan of getting high quality, medical grade. And you might be like, I eat vegetables, I don't need a B vitamin. Well, honey, the food supply is pretty nutrient depleted, so you might still benefit from one. And if you're, taking all these liver cleanses and doing all these treatments and things to drain your liver, but if your liver doesn't have B vitamins to do that phase 1, it's not gonna work as well. And the thing too is that if you really push your liver, but if you don't have what it needs to biotransform into phase 2, you're actually gonna feel sick, and you don't want that. So if you've ever detoxed and you don't feel well, that's a sign that your phase 1 is slow. But also, this can happen for people that are sensitive to things like caffeine or sensitive to alcohol. Yeah, it could be because you're getting older. But what happens when you get older is that these enzymes that are making all these chemical changes in phase 1, they're called cytochrome P450 enzymes, and they actually get slower with age. But also, you can have different genetic varieties. So if you're someone that's like, I have a sip of coffee and I feel like adrenaline is pulsing through my body, it's probably because your body can't biotransform that to phase 2, so it's staying in circulation for longer. This can happen with alcohol. This can happen with those of you that are like, I'm sensitive, I take something and it reacts very different in my body than it does in anyone else's. Very clear sign to me that your liver is talking to you. And also if you're just sensitive, if you would say that you're a sensitive person, if you're allergic to everything, if your skin reacts, yes, of course, those things can be like histamine reactions and true allergies, but that's because your liver isn't able to clear those allergens out and convert them into a form that you can clear from your body. So phase 1, you need B vitamins, you need minerals, and you need anti-inflammatory compounds, because again, a lot of inflammation is produced in this process. So glutathione is needed. Glutathione is one of the strongest antioxidants that your body makes. Your body makes it from amino acids. And if you are deficient in those amino acids, your body will not be able to make as much glutathione, but also glutathione gets depleted in significant inflammatory states. So your body might need more, which is why glutathione is a game changer. And fun fact for you, because I love giving you truth bombs and little nuggets, glutathione is not absorbed orally very well at all. So if you're buying an oral supplement of glutathione, it's probably quite expensive, and you're honestly probably not getting a lot of it. So I would recommend taking the precursor, which is NAC, or you can take other types of compounds that help your body convert and recycle glutathione. I find clinically those work a lot better than oral glutathione. Liposomal, because it's dissolved in fat, you can absorb it a little bit more, but my favorite way to get glutathione, if you're trying to get just glutathione, is actually in an IV. you could do a little push of just glutathione, which means that you get like a little small injection of fluid into your vein rather than like a whole drip bag. So just want to throw that out there. So that's phase 1. Your body's breaking things down. Again, it often makes them more inflammatory. Phase 2, your body is adding things to these compounds so that they could be bound and cleared. Things like methyl groups, acetyl groups, glucuronidation groups, sulfol groups. These are all just different chemical compounds that can be bound to change the chemical structure of that compound so that you can clear it out either in the urine or in the bowels. So that process is highly protein deficient. So if you are depleted in protein, your body's not going to be able to detoxify. And of course, I'm a fan of supplements and things to help, but it would be silly for me to tell you to take a supplement when you're vegan and are significantly protein deficient. You can't detoxify in that way. I know that I'm a fan of you eating the way that feels in alignment with your body, but I'm also a bigger fan of you getting everything that your body needs. So however you're choosing to nourish your body, just make sure that you have the building blocks to thrive. That's all your girl is saying. So that phase is also really dependent on a lot of minerals, things like magnesium and iron and zinc, and also bioflavonoids, things that are anti-inflammatory in nature. And again, protein, glutathione also plays a role there as well. So really nothing can replace good nutrition. Nothing can replace a good multivitamin, honestly, because again, our food supply is not doing that great. So I would highly recommend those things because our livers, they get a hit. They get a hit real hard. And I think that there's almost this just wave of like cleansing culture in which people are doing these extreme things like fasting or cold plunging or whatever it may be, when really what they might need is just like really good high quality nourishment to help them poop. Fiber is key. Fiber is actually magical, because fiber creates this substance that can soak up bile. So it kind of binds the bile and helps your body flush it out in the bowels. So again, phase 1 of liver detox, your liver is breaking down these compounds into more inflammatory forms. These are with cytochrome P450 enzymes, and there's a lot of genetic variance in these cytochrome P450 enzymes, and that's things that are called SNPs, right? Genetic SNPs. Really, that just means that your body needs a little bit more support in that area. It doesn't mean that it can't do it. And for people that do have quite a few of these SNPs, honestly, I have quite a lot of them. You just need to be more mindful about what you're putting in your body, because you might be those people that have like a 2-day long hangover or something because your liver can't adequately clear that out and transform it. That is phase 1. You need lots of anti-inflammatory things, B vitamins and minerals. Phase 2, you are adding things to that compound to clear it out. Both of those need to happen to get to phase 3, which is the poop. So again, that's why I started with the poop, because if you are just creating all these metabolites and then dropping them into your gut and trying to poop them out, but if they're not clearing out, your body just recirculates them. So your body does that with things like hormones too. Your liver is metabolizing these hormones. So even going back to symptoms, signs of hormonal imbalances always tell me that the liver needs support. I don't care what the hormone imbalance is. It could be cortisol, it could be estrogen, it could be your thyroid. I don't care what it is. If there's any level of hormone imbalance, I need to make sure that your liver can metabolize it and clear it out. And also, fun fact, if you are someone that is taking anything hormonal medication, hormonal injections, hormonal contraceptives, your liver is getting hit, and your liver because that's something that you're taking by mouth every day that your liver then has to filter and clear out. Or even if it's not by mouth, right? It could be a patch, it could be a pellet. You could get testosterone pellets up your butt, just fun fact. But anyway, it's going into circulation. Your liver has to clear that out. So liver support and hormone support go hand in hand. And that even overflows into a lot of the things that we are seeing with skin, because if your liver isn't able to filter out these compounds and poop them out, you will recirculate them, and you could have things of estrogen dominance or hormone excess. Estrogen dominance and constipation go hand in hand, because again, that's phase 3. That's phase 3 of liver detox. So estrogen dominance is something that we talk a lot about on this podcast. And yes, we talk about different tools and things that you can do, but again, it really comes down to your bowels. It comes back to your liver. So some things that you could do for your sweet little liver is, of course, just treat it like the king or the queen that it is. Be mindful of the toxins in your environment. You know that I'm a fan of eating good quality food. You know that I think organic does make a difference, even though, yes, there's so much cross-contamination and a wild, wild west out there of poison, but I do think that it makes a difference. I think clean water is a huge, huge shift. I think you should definitely stop poisoning yourself, honestly, because a lot of you are. You're taking over-the-counter medications that don't work, and you're just taking them to take them because you've taken them every day forever. You're taking Tylenol every day because like your back hurts when really all you need to do is fucking stretch. Sorry, love you. You might be smoking, you might be vaping, you might be living in a toxic environment, you might be walking in your house with shoes. Any of these things, you know, you can be mindful about the level of toxins that your liver is filtering out. But I love herbs for liver. Again, it's not replacing a good diet, good water, being mindful of toxic exposures, but it does help, of course. So there's lots of supplements to help the liver. First one is one that I already mentioned. NAC, that's the precursor of glutathione. It is a master anti-inflammatory compound that really helps your liver be supported. Vitamin E is actually magical for your liver as well. Of course, you would want to check and see if you actually needed it, if you were super deficient in it, but there's incredible studies showing that vitamin E helps with things like fatty liver disease and just liver damage overall. I'm a huge fan of milk thistle. Milk thistle is a magical herb that helps to reduce liver enzymes and that helps to regenerate the liver. Things like artichoke are also phenomenal at this. Really anything bitter as well. Bitter and the liver, they go friends. Some other things that I love for the liver are things like castor oil packs. I'm actually going to do a little mini on them, a little instructional video so that you'll get a feel for how to do it. But essentially it's just this really sticky oil that you put over your liver, you put some heat over it, and then it seeps into those liver cells and helps them to break free of their toxins and detoxify. Really nice for all sorts of stuff. And for those of you that aren't pooping, you could also put it in your belly button, fun fact, or you can put it over your gut and it will help you poop. Some other things for your liver are things like coffee enemas. We love sticking coffee up the butt. Yeah, we do. So good at detoxifying the liver. And outside of that, all green things are really good for the liver. And speaking of that, this is something that I didn't mention. If you turn yellow, your liver is fucking freaking out, okay? Like, please listen to your liver before you turn yellow. But fun fact, your baby can be yellow when it's born, and that could be normal, okay? But in adult, that is yellow. That is not normal, okay? If your hands are getting yellow, if your eyes are getting yellow, your liver is freaking out. That's bile. Oh, last thing, symptom-wise. When bile builds up in your body, this is such a good one. I'm so happy that my brain didn't forget to tell you this one. When bile builds up in the body because you're not clearing it out via the poo-poos, it will make you so itchy. You'll be like, why? I'm just itchy everywhere. Especially when I lay in bed, I'm just so fucking itchy. That's literally bile coming out of your skin because you're not pooping it out, my honey. You must poop. You have to. Yes. So a lot of these things are things that you've probably experienced before and you never thought it was your liver. You probably blame like your facial cleanser or something, but it's your liver, okay? So I hope that this episode opened your eyes, that your liver's whispering to you. You don't want it to scream. Again, it's housing anger. When the liver screams, you're gonna like throw shit. You know from this podcast that I'm really good at throwing stuff, right? Like my liver's probably been struggling my whole life, but I'm showing up, I'm giving her the love, and I hope that this episode gave you some tools to give your liver some love, and it might just be you eating real food and not poisoning yourself with alcohol every day, okay? So thank you for being here. You know that I love talking detox on this podcast, but again, we drop truth bombs all the time. So please subscribe to this podcast. Share it with your aunt that drinks a bottle of wine every night and is wondering why she has acne at age 60, because they're definitely related, okay? I love you so much. Thank you for letting me be my honest self, and I love learning along with you.